Close your eyes for just 1 second and picture this. You are sitting in your favorite chair right now, maybe the one by the window, maybe the one in front of the TV. And I want you to ask yourself one honest question. When you stand up from that chair, do you push off the armrests? Do you rock forward 2 or 3 times before you can rise? Do you feel your legs shaking just a little underneath you? If any of that sounds familiar, I need you to stay with me for the next few minutes, because what I am about to share with you is one of the most important conversations I have ever had with my patients about staying independent, staying strong, and staying in charge of your own life well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. Here is what almost no one explains to you in a 1-2 minute office visit. Walking is wonderful. I tell my patients to walk. I walk myself every morning. But if walking is the only thing you are doing to stay active after 60, you are missing the single most critical piece of the puzzle. And the gap that is left behind, that invisible gap, is quietly stealing your strength, your balance, and your freedom 1 week at a time. Today, I am going to tell you what that missing piece is, why it matters more than almost any health metric your doctor measures, and exactly how to add it to your life starting today, even if you have bad knees, a stiff back, or you have not exercised in years. Let me start with a truth I share openly in my practice. The number that predicts whether a person over 60 will still be living independently at 80 is not their cholesterol number. It is not their body weight. It is not even their blood pressure, though all of those matter. The single strongest predictor of long-term independence is leg strength combined with the ability to rise from a seated position under control. I have seen this play out hundreds of times over 15 years of practice. The patients who stay sharp, stay mobile, stay out of the hospital the longest are almost always the ones whose legs and hips are still doing real work. Now let me explain why walking, as good as it is, cannot carry that load on its own. Think of your muscles like the suspension system on a car. Walking keeps the tires spinning, keeps things moving, keeps the engine warm, but it does not tighten the suspension. It does not rebuild the shocks. And after 60, a process begins in the body called sarcopenia, which is a word that simply means muscle shrinkage. Think of it like a slow leak in a tire. You cannot see it happening day to day, but over months and years, the tire goes flat. After age 60, research published in journals like the Journal of the American Medical Association has shown that adults can lose somewhere between 3 and 8% of their muscle mass per decade without targeted resistance activity, and that rate accelerates significantly after 70. Walking slows that leak, but it does not seal it. To seal it, you have to give the body a specific kind of challenge, and that challenge is what I want to talk about right now. The exercise is called the chair stand. You may also hear it called the sit to stand. And before you think, that sounds too simple, hear me out, because the science behind this movement is genuinely remarkable. Every single time you push your body up from a seated position, you are lifting nearly your entire body weight against gravity. That is real resistance training. That is strength work. Compare that to walking, where at any given moment, one foot is on the ground and your muscles are only managing a fraction of your body weight. The chair stand activates the quadriceps at the front of the thigh, the gluteal muscles of the hip and rear, the hamstrings behind the knee, the core muscles wrapping your abdomen, and the stabilizers running along the lower spine. These are the exact same muscles you need to walk upstairs, carry groceries, get out of a car, and, most critically, catch yourself if you start to stumble. Let me tell you about someone I will call Margaret, 71, from Tucson, Arizona. Margaret came into my office convinced her balance problems were just a natural part of getting older. She had stopped going to the farmer's market she loved because she was afraid of falling on the uneven ground. We talked for a while, and I asked her to stand up from the exam table chair for me. She used both hands, leaned far forward, and nearly tipped. I gave her one instruction: 5 chair stands in the morning, 5 at night, nothing else. 6 weeks later, she walked back into my office and sat down without using her hands. By week 10, she was back at the farmer's market. No new medication, no expensive equipment, just one movement, done consistently. Now let me walk you through exactly how to perform the chair stand correctly and safely, because form here is everything. Find a sturdy, non-rolling chair. Dining chairs work perfectly. Sit toward the front edge of the seat, not all the way back, with your feet flat on the floor, roughly hip width apart. Your toes can point slightly outward, whatever feels natural for your hips. Sit tall, chest lifted, shoulders relaxed, eyes looking straight ahead at a fixed point on the wall. That fixed point matters for balance. Now, tilt forward gently from the hips, not rounding your back, just leaning your chest slightly toward your knees. Press evenly through both heels and the balls of your feet and rise slowly. Do not rush. At the top, stand tall without locking your knees rigid. Take a breath, then soften your hips and knees and lower yourself back down with complete control, landing gently as if you are trying not to make a sound. That controlled descent is actually where a significant portion of the muscle building signal comes from. One full rise and one controlled lower. That is one repetition. If your knees or hips are sensitive, you do not need to come all the way down to the seat right away. Lower yourself until you feel the chair just grazing the back of your thighs and come back up. Work within whatever range is comfortable. As your strength builds over weeks, the range will expand naturally. If you need to lightly rest your hands on the armrest at the start, that is completely fine. The goal is safe, consistent movement, not perfection on day one. How often and how many? Start with whatever number feels manageable and leaves your muscles feeling worked but not painful. For some people, that is 5 repetitions. For others, it might be 8 or 10. Aim to do this at least 3 to 4 days a week. Daily is even better if your body's comfortable with it. As you get stronger over the coming weeks, you can slow the lowering phase to a 3 count, 1, 2, 3 before touching the seat. That single change dramatically increases the strength signal sent to the muscle without adding any impact or strain to the joint. I want to pause here and talk about something that does not come up enough in clinical conversations, and that is the biology of why this particular movement does more than just build leg strength. When a large muscle group like the thigh and hip complex is put under deliberate effort, the muscle tissue releases proteins called myokines. Think of myokines like chemical text messages that your muscles send to the rest of your body. These messages travel through the bloodstream to the brain, the heart, the liver, and the pancreas, and they carry instructions that reduce chronic inflammation, improve how efficiently your cells respond to insulin, which means better blood sugar regulation, support the growth of new connections between brain cells, and strengthen the walls of the cardiovascular system. Walking generates some of these messages, but resistance-based movement where your muscles are genuinely working against a load, generates a far stronger and more varied signal. A review of multiple studies in the journal Frontiers in Physiology found that resistance exercise in older adults produced significantly greater improvements in inflammatory markers and metabolic function compared to aerobic activity alone. So when you do your chair stands each morning, you are not just working your legs, you are sending a health broadcast to your entire body. Now I want to address something that I hear from patients constantly, and that is the fear of falling. I want to speak to this directly because I know it is real, and I know it quietly shapes how many of you move through your day. After 60, falls are one of the leading causes of serious injury, hospitalization, and loss of independence. The Centers for Disease Control reports that 1 in 4 Americans over 65 falls each year, and the consequences can be life-altering. But here is what most people do not realize. The fear of falling often causes people to move less. And moving less causes the muscles in the nervous system to weaken. And that weakness increases the actual risk of falling. It becomes a self-reinforcing cycle that nobody warned you about. The chair stand breaks that cycle in the safest possible environment. You are practicing the precise physical skill, controlled descent, and powerful rise that your body needs to navigate the real world. Every repetition trains your nervous system to fire faster and more accurately. Every slow lowering phase teaches your brain and your legs to work as a coordinated team. Research from the Mayo Clinic and similar institutions has shown that progressive resistance training in older adults reduces fall risk by measurable percentages, with some programs showing reductions of 30 to 40% in fall incidence among consistent participants. Now, here is something I want you to really sit with. The 30-second chair stand test is used by geriatricians and exercise physiologists as a clinical benchmark of biological age. It is not a gym metric. It is a medical one. The number of times you can rise from a chair and sit back down in 30 seconds correlates directly with mortality risk, fall risk, and the likelihood of maintaining independence into advanced age. Improving your score on that test, even by 2 or 3 repetitions, is a clinically meaningful change. This is a good moment to mention something I have been putting together for the people in this community who want to go deeper than a single video can take them. We have already covered why the chair stand works, the biology of myokines, the connection to fall prevention, and how to perform the movement safely. If you want the full picture, including a practical guide to which common medications can quietly affect muscle function and balance in people over 70, and how everyday foods can either accelerate or protect against muscle loss, I put all of that together in a resource I call the Complete Senior Health Vault. It is 3 guides in one place, covering the medications worth questioning with your doctor, food as your daily medicine, and a plain language manual for understanding your body after 70. If any of that sounds useful to you, the link is in the description below this video, and you can also scan the QR code on screen right now. I will be coming back in a few minutes to something that surprises almost every patient I share it with about what a common daily habit may be quietly working against all the strength progress you are building. Do not go anywhere. Let me tell you about someone else I will call Robert, 78, from a small town outside of Nashville, Tennessee. Robert had 2 knee replacements in his late 60s and had been told by a well-meaning but rushed physician to just take it easy and stick to flat walking. By the time he came to see me, he was holding the wall to get down his front porch steps. His leg muscles had simply not been challenged since surgery. I referred him to a physical therapist who started him on chair stands at a very shallow range of motion, barely 3 inches of descent at first. In 8 weeks, he was descending fully. In 12 weeks, he walked down those porch steps without touching the railing. His words to me were, I thought that part of my life was just over. That sentence stayed with me. Because the truth is, for most people, it is not over. The body simply needs the right signal. Now, I want to address something important about breathing during the movement, because this is a detail that almost never comes up, and it genuinely matters. As you push up from the chair, exhale gently through your mouth. As you lower yourself down, inhale through your nose. This pattern does 2 things. It activates the deep core muscles that wrap around your spine and pelvis, creating a natural internal support belt during the effort phase. And it helps maintain more stable blood pressure throughout the movement, which is particularly relevant for anyone who manages hypertension. If you have ever felt dizzy when standing up quickly, this breathing pattern, combined with the slow, controlled pace of the chair stand, is part of what helps prevent that. Let me now talk about the common mistake I mentioned earlier, the one that quietly sabotages weeks of honest effort. The mistake is using momentum instead of muscle. It looks like this: a quick rocking motion forward, a kind of throw of the upper body to gain speed, and then a rapid drop back onto the seat. When the movement happens quickly and with momentum, the muscles barely engage. You are essentially bouncing, and the strength signal sent to the body is very weak. The fix is simple but requires deliberate attention. Move slowly in both directions. The rising phase should take about 2 seconds. The lowering phase should take at least 2 to 3 seconds, and eventually up to 5 as you get stronger. Slow is not easier. Slow is harder. And harder in this context means more effective. Now, I want to speak honestly about the relationship between the chair stand and walking, because I am not here to replace one with the other. I am here to help you understand how they work together. Think of walking as nourishment for your cardiovascular system, your heart, your lungs, your mood, and your circulation. And think of the chair stand as nourishment for your structural system, your muscles, your bones, your nervous system, and your joints. A strong and resilient body after 60 needs both, just the way a well-built house needs both a solid frame and a well-maintained electrical system. Neither one substitutes for the other. If you already walk every day, that is genuinely wonderful. Simply add your chair stands before or after your walk, or at a different time of day entirely, if that is easier to remember. Attaching the new habit to something you already do consistently is one of the most reliable ways to make it stick. Let me tell you about one more person from my practice, someone I will call Eleanor, 82, from Portland, Oregon. Eleanor had been a walker her whole adult life. Active, engaged, sharp. But in her late 70s, she noticed she was getting winded climbing the steps to her daughter's house, and that her balance felt less reliable than before. She assumed it was simply age. When we ran a functional assessment, her lower body strength had declined significantly, despite her consistent walking. We added chair stands 3 times a week, and within 2 months, her daughter called me personally to say her mother was taking the stairs again without stopping to rest halfway. Eleanor told me the most surprising part was that her walking felt easier too. Stronger legs make every movement better. That is the biology working exactly as it should. Now, I want to take a moment and speak directly to anyone listening who feels discouraged. Maybe you have tried to start an exercise routine before and pain stopped you. Maybe life got complicated and the habit disappeared. Maybe you are looking at your body right now and wondering whether it is still capable of change. I want to answer that question clearly. Yes, it is. The research on this is remarkably consistent. Studies from institutions including the Human Performance Laboratory at Ball State University and the National Institute on Aging have shown that skeletal muscle in adults over 70 retains a meaningful capacity for growth, adaptation when given the right stimulus. The response may be slower than it was at 40, but it is real, and it is enough. Your body is still listening. The most important variable in all of this is not intensity. It is not the number of repetitions. It is consistency. 5 chair stands done every day will outperform 20 chair stands done twice a month. The muscle responds to regular reminders that it is needed. Think of it like watering a plant. A little, regularly, keeps it alive and growing. A flood once a month cannot make up for the weeks of drought. As a practical framework, here's what I suggest to patients who are starting from scratch. In week 1, aim for 5 slow repetitions once a day, ideally at the same time each day, so it becomes a cue in your routine. Many people choose right before breakfast or right after the morning news. In week 2, if 5 repetitions felt manageable and you have no joint pain during or after, increase to 8. In week 3, try 2 sets of 8 with a 1-minute rest between them. In week 4 and beyond, begin introducing the slow lower, counting to 3 as you descend. Over the following month, you can extend that count to 4 or 5 seconds. You do not need to rush this progression. Your body will tell you when it is ready for the next step. Here's something else worth understanding about the broader picture of aging and strength that almost never comes up in a standard checkup. The medical system, through no particular malice, but through the structure of how visits are scheduled and reimbursed, does not have much time to focus on functional capacity. A 12-minute visit covers your medications, your blood work, your chronic conditions. There is rarely time to ask, can you stand from a chair without your hands? Can you walk a block without stopping? Can you carry a bag of groceries up your front steps? These are the questions that actually predict your life 5 and 10 years from now. The tools to address them are largely free and largely ignored. Not because the science is hidden, the science is published and consistent, but because there is no billing code for teaching someone to do chair stands. That is not a conspiracy. It is economics. And knowing that, the responsibility falls to you to take this information and use it. Drop your age in the comments below. Tell me whether you already do any kind of strength work or whether walking has been your main activity. I read every single one, and what you share genuinely helps me understand what to cover next for this community. Before I close today, I want to remind you of something important that belongs in every conversation about new physical activity. If you have recent joint surgery, a significant cardiovascular condition, uncontrolled blood pressure, or any other serious medical situation, please speak with your physician or a physical therapist before beginning any new exercise routine. The chair stand is exceptionally safe for most people, but your individual history matters, and your doctor needs to be part of this conversation. And if you are taking any medications that affect blood pressure, fluid balance, or muscle function, never stop or change those on your own. Bring what you have learned today to your next appointment and ask your doctor how it fits with your specific situation. If this conversation has given you something useful today, I would be grateful if you shared it with someone you care about. An older parent, a neighbor, a friend who you know is quietly losing ground but does not know where to start. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do for the people we love is hand them the right information at the right time. In the next video in this series, I am going to cover something that builds directly on what we talked about today. Most people over 65 are losing grip strength without realizing it. And grip strength is one of the most overlooked predictors of heart health, brain health, and how long you will live. I will show you a simple daily practice, again requiring no equipment and no gym, that can make a measurable difference in just a few weeks. You will not want to miss that one. Your body is not your enemy. It is not broken. It is not done. It is waiting for the right signal, and today you gave it one. That matters more than you know. The information shared in this video is intended for educational purposes and does not constitute personalized medical advice. Always consult your physician or qualified healthcare provider before making changes to your exercise routine or health management